Hello, everyone. My name is Sandra Goldtree, and I am your registered dietitian nutritionist. And first, I want to congratulate each and every one of you and welcome you personally for participating in Post Summer Detox, a 3-day challenge designed to help you to get your weight back on track after the summer. And I'm super excited to host my final challenge for 2024. And I'm even more excited to have each of you join me on this epic ride as we embark on the holiday season because it is quickly approaching, right? And kudos to each and every one of you for not giving up on your weight goals, your health goals, your life goals, because, we had some goals that we set back in January typically, but now we're towards the end of the year. And a lot of times those goals kind of fall through the cracks. So now we're going to kind of pick that stuff back up and give you a little bit of motivation that, hey, there's time, it's not too late. All right. And before I go into my story, I'm going to talk about my story in brief about my journey with weight loss and my journey with blood pressure. I want to ask you, have you ever done a detox before? Have you ever followed any form of a detox type diet? And feel free to share what you've tried. So I love engagement. So I encourage you to post any questions, post any comments, post any aha moments, post anything. Okay, so I love engagement. And I'm going to continually watch the thread in order to address your questions and comments in real time, all right? So let's first talk about the purpose. Like, why are we here? Why am I doing this? So the purpose of hosting challenges throughout the year is really directly tied to my passion for helping you become the best versions of yourself as possible regarding your health in a sustainable manner that doesn't take extreme measures, that's realistic, that can fit into your lifestyle. And I want to share that it's not as hard as people think. And we have common goals. We all have common goals. We want to get past weight loss plateaus. We want to fit better in our clothes. We want to eat what's best for our bodies and know what that is and what that is not. And what does that really mean? And we just want to feel good. You want to come home from the end of the day not feeling exhausted, not feeling like you don't have any energy left. We want to make sure that you're able to have that time and that fun and that energy to do the things that you enjoy doing. And that's what I'm here to help people to do, and just to step into your highest level of health. You'll hear me say that a lot in my talks. It's about stepping into your highest level of health and realizing that food is for nourishment and it's also for fun, and knowing what that means. So I'm very big on education. So this is why my challenges are not just about meal plans, because anybody can download a meal plan from the internet, but I like to provide education and training as well. Alrighty. And so if any of you can relate to that, just post if you can relate. And the previous question that I asked is, if you've ever done a detox before, just post yes or no. And if you want to give details on maybe the specific detox plan you followed, then let me know. But if all this is relatable, which for many of us it is, because at the end of the day, I'm committed to helping people to move forward with their weight loss goals or health goals and just to become successful. And when I say successful, it's great to lose weight, but most people unfortunately gain it back. And so to me, that's not success. You want to lose the weight and you want to keep it off, and you want to have the tools to know how to sustain that without feeling like you have to spend a lot of money, feel like you have to feel deprived, and feeling like it's very rigid. You want it to become a part of your everyday being. Okay? So let's talk about our agenda for today. So we're going to step through the guidebook. So if you have not had a chance to print it yet, I recommend that you pause this and go ahead and print that, because it is your lifeline for the next 3 days when we start on the challenge on Monday. And it's good to have it printed. I recommend printing it versus having it on just on your phone, because it's easy to miss things and you can take notes and you can really dig a bit deeper. Okay, so have it printed. And we're going to also talk about the schedule of events and how things are going to flow. We're going to talk about our shopping tips, grocery shopping tips. Typically, people will shop on the weekend. So that's one reason why I do this on a Thursday prior to when we kick things off live. So you have 3 solid days to actually do some shopping. I'll talk about how the challenge will run, check-ins, our trainings, our replays. I do encourage you to mark your calendars. Even if you cannot stay for the entire training, just pop in, pop out. It really does a lot for that motivation and engagement when you're actually involved live and you can actually participate with other challengers that are with you. And then opportunity for Q&A as well. And like I said, you don't have to wait until the end to do the Q&A. If questions pop up while I am speaking, then post them and we will address them, okay? So let's talk about my story a little bit in brief to kind of give you an idea of who I am and why I am in this place. I consider myself a player coach. So it's not just me saying you should do this, you should do that, because the evidence supports that. Of course, I will give you evidence-based information, but my advice is also based on personal experience as well as professional experience, as well as what the research says. So it's a combination of things because I'm human and I have to follow my own advice and check myself every now and then, just like everybody else does. And so my journey actually began in my early 30s, early to mid 30s, where I actually was at my highest weight. I had gained about 12 pounds in a year, didn't really see it, didn't really know it until I was in the doctor and got on the scale. And I was like, wow, that's a big jump, so from the last time that I was in here. And I was really in denial about my weight. I guess we used to say I was a cheeseburger away. So I guess I was kind of in that category. And so, but I didn't see it. And so, but when I look at pictures always tell the truth. And so I was kind of devastated. I was at the doctor. Was told that my blood pressure was elevating. So they called it pre-hypertension. My weight was a little elevated. And so, hey, they wanted me to lose 20 to 25 pounds. And they handed me this sheet of paper and saying, hey, you need to stop eating foods with a lot of sodium in them. And so I was devastated because I had never really received unfavorable news from the doctor before. So this was really eye-opening. I really didn't have any direction. I didn't know what to do. In my mind, I didn't need to lose weight. Everything was fine. But I did what we all do, even to this day. It wasn't a Google search back then. It was just I searched the World Wide Web, and I'm trying to figure out ways. How do I lower my blood pressure? What do I need to do to lose weight? And fad diets weren't as popular back then. And so I did come across what is called the DASH eating pattern, which is one of the top rated eating patterns for several years. And I actually incorporate that style of eating, one of the styles of eating when I'm working with my one-on-ones, because it emphasizes fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lean protein and healthy fats and vegetables. So it encourages all these different food groups for a reason, because you get different nutrients from all the different food groups in order to help, and for my case, lower my blood pressure, to get control over my blood pressure. And so, but I realized I had to make significant changes as I'm reading this document and getting examples on what to eat and different meal plan samples. I realized that, and I really wasn't eating as healthy as I thought I was. And I was not a dietitian at this time. And so I had to really make a lot of changes, places where I didn't eat out as much as I could have, being a single person. I did not shake salt on my food when I cooked. That's typical that many of us don't do that, but I still was eating foods that were processed and still eating foods that were high in sodium. So I had to really, really monitor what I was eating. And so, but I wasn't able to connect all the dots. Even though I made these changes, I was not successful at trying to lose the weight. I was at this for about 3 years, trying to figure out how to go at it by myself, and I wasn't successful. My blood pressure was kind of up and down, up and down. So I really was not able to really get a consistent hold of it. And my doctor constantly warned me, Sandra, you're putting your kidneys at risk. You're at risk for diabetes. You're putting your heart at risk because you are overworking yourself. Because I wanted to avoid meds. At the end of the day, I wanted to avoid meds. I'm trying to fix this with lifestyle. I'm trying to fix this with eating. I was working out, but mind you, I just said I wasn't losing any weight. I stopped the gain, but I was not losing. I needed to lose. And so I was really not winning the battle. 3 years later, I was really doing more harm than good, because I'm trying to fix myself, and I really didn't have all the tools, and I didn't really have all the answers, and I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I realized that I did not want dialysis in my life. I did not want to have diabetes in my life. I did not want to have, all these other problems that now I'm at risk at because of my blood pressure. And so I hired a dietitian. I hired a dietitian. I worked with a dietitian, and I was amazed at how much I did not realize and how much I did not know. And of course, I was on the right track with the DASH eating pattern and eating foods around the plate and more in this natural state. But I didn't have that secret sauce to actually lose the weight to help take that pressure off my heart and to lose and to lower my blood pressure. And so she was able to help me to connect those dots. And what I was trying to do for 3 years to lose 20 to 25 pounds, she was able to help me do in 3 months. So that really was a big eye opener for me, and not just lose it, but gave me the tools and the strategies to keep it off, because we have different seasons in our lives. And so different seasons going to require different interventions. And this took place around the early 2000s. So just to kind of give you an idea of how long it's been since I've been maintaining it. And I've been through many life changes. I've gotten married. I've had my son, career change, school, so it's a lot of things that typically that are typical stressors in our life that will cause weight gain, us to lose ourselves, us to not become a priority, and life just takes over. As we say today, life is just life. And so life takes over, but I was able to navigate. Was I perfect? No, but I was on enough track and I had enough knowledge in my toolbox to where I was able to stay on track for the most part. And when I did deviate, and when, the 5 pound gain became like a 7, 8 pound gain, I'm like, oh, let me reel this back in. I was able to do those kind of things. And the more you stay with it, the more it becomes a part of you. It's not about perfection. It's not an all or nothing. It's about going through those tough periods, because you're not tested until you're in those situations that are out of the norm, when things are coming at you. And that's when you need to make that concerted effort to keep yourself on that priority list and not to let it fall until the storm ends, because the storm never ends, right? And so I considered and I ended up, even though I lost the weight, and then I went to the doctor, and I'm all excited because I lost this weight and I've changed how I eat. And my blood pressure still was not responding the way that it needed to respond. And so I was devastated. I was disappointed. But I realized that now I'm more stressed out more than anything, because I'm not getting the results that I hoped that I would get. And I realized that I needed to stop. I realized that I was not doing myself justice by continuing to try to fix myself, and that I needed to accept the fact that genetics is genetics. And that was my situation. It was genetic. So I was diagnosed with essential hypertension, and I was started on medications. And I was upset about it. I felt like I had failed. But the Lord spoke to me and said, Sandra, had you not had this happen to you, you would have way more health issues than this hypertension, this one little pill that you're taking, because I wasn't eating the best. I was working out, but that was not sufficing for what I was putting into my body or not putting into my body. And so that was a true wake-up call for me. And so we do not have, and I was in my 30s. So, youth was still on my side, but it wasn't on my side for my particular case. And so that is why I really am here, because we do not have to, if we have a diagnosis, it doesn't have to control us, or it doesn't, or we don't have to feel defeated because we have it. And then of course, I'm all about prevention. If we can avoid it, let's all, by all means, avoid it. If you've been told you're pre-diabetic, don't play around with it. Get the help that you need from a licensed dietitian, licensed nutritionist. Don't play around with it, because there's so much misinformation out there that you think you're doing good, but it's actually doing harm in the long run. And so eventually I was able to reframe my mind and not to consider my personal situation as a setback. It was a setback temporarily, but I was able to come back stronger as a dietitian. I went back to school to get the credentials so that I can apply the evidence and to the personal experience as well as the professional experience. So God gave me a different plan, and I reach one at a time. It's a lot of people in the world, and I want to reach as many as I can in order to say, hey, this is how you enjoy food. This is how food is medicine. You need these foods that you likely cut out because somebody said that you should cut them out. And so we want to make sure that we are fueling our temple the best way possible. Okay. And sometimes people ask, well, how do what motivates me? What keeps me on track when I fall off? And really, my clients are really my motivator that keeps me accountable and keeps me on track. And so when I hear them tell me things like they feel less bloated, they are actually having regular bowel movements daily instead of like once a week or once every other week, they're sleeping through the night, they have more energy when they wake up throughout their day, when prediabetes was reversed, when they have a reduction in meds, those are the things that excite me, because those are the real things that really bring us down in life and stress us out in life, and it's all about how do we manage that stress. And you notice I didn't say anything about weight loss. Weight loss is inevitable as long as you put the education, the tips, and the tricks that I give you to practice in your own time, in your own way. Weight loss will happen. That's just a no-brainer, okay? So I pray that this inspired you all, that you are ready to jump in, ready to dive in, because all of this is possible for you, okay, as well as your friends. And everything that we do in this challenge and everything that we do can spill over to your household. Everybody benefits, okay? There's no special, you eat this and they eat that. You're going to notice on this plan, it is real food. It is not nothing special. It is not nothing. It's not diet food. It is real food, okay? And it's a lot of wonderful recipes here. So if you're feeling inspired or you're ready to do this thing, just simply post so I can know that you're with me. And if I can lose the weight, keep it off. Even, I fall off, I get back on. Look, you can too, okay? And so, and it's all about hitting that reset button. We all have to hit the reset button every now and then, but we need the tools to know how to hit the reset button. It's not going back to another diet that you felt deprived on, or it was difficult to follow. That's not how we set the reset button. So we want to make sure we know how to do that to where we're actually still giving our bodies what it needs, okay? And so empowering you on how to reel it back in and how to reset is what all of this is about, okay? All right, and so all of this is very, very, very doable, okay? So just know that one step at a time, and everybody works at their own pace and in their own timing. Always know that it's about your timing and meeting. I meet you where you're at, and then we go forward from there, okay? So let's jump into the good stuff as to why we are here. Let's get into the shopping tips, okay? The guidebook. So if you hopefully had a chance to print out Guidebook and you have it on deck, and I am going to follow along with you as well. And so I'm going to go over the first kind of few pages that has the main information on here, where you'll see kind of a table of contents of what's in the book. But I'm going to go through each section. You're going to see on the first page there where it has the schedule. So we're going to kick things off on Monday the 3rd, right after Labor Day. And these are the topics that we're going to talk about. Recovering from the summertime madness. How do we get back on track with your weight and health goals? That's day 1. Day 2, on Tuesday, we're going to discover what and how to eat to lose weight effortlessly. So that's a big thing, because a lot of times people want to know, what do I eat that works for me? And then day 3, fighting off sugar cravings. That is a lot of people's challenge, is how do we fight off those sugar cravings? How do we gain control over our food choices? Okay. And so that is a big important thing. And so you will see a meal plan brief, okay, right after you see the schedule. And that's just kind of giving you an idea of, why I'm doing this, who I am, and some high level information of what we're going to accomplish, some of the typical pain points that people have and what we're going to actually accomplish, okay? And so that's what we're going to, so I'll give you an opportunity to read that on your own. And then you will see the beginning of the meal plan itself, okay? And so this is where you're going to see a welcome message. And this is going to talk a lot about some important steps. So some important steps to make sure that you have done. Many of you have already done it. Making sure that you are a part of the Facebook group. We will air this also publicly. So for the first time, we're going to air this on my biz page as well. So there are people who sign up that maybe they don't join the Facebook group, but they're able to see it on the biz page, and also it's going to air on YouTube as well. And then many of the smoothie recipes. If you need recommendation for protein powder, then you will see a couple of options that I have there for chocolate and vanilla that I like, and so those are available to you. And then we're going to go into you'll see some information about the grocery list tips, shopping tips, the meal prep guide itself, recipe notes, and leftovers. So this is important. So I'm gonna go over this a little bit. With the grocery shopping tips, I recommend going through the recipes. All recipes have a note section. And the note section will give you substitutions, will give you ideals of other foods that you can use that will work as well for that particular recipe. So I advise you to take advantage of that. Look at the grocery list first. Look at the note section. Make some notes to see what substitutions, because you only want to buy what you don't need. Yeah, I'm sorry. You only want to buy what you need. You don't want to buy the things that you already have or something that you can use as a substitute. And then, and don't worry. Many times, if you're buying something for the first time, usually when the challenge is over, if I have ingredients left over, then that's what's on the menu for that upcoming week. So therefore you'll have an opportunity to use it. And then some things will keep a lot longer and you're able to use for other recipes. So I advise you to search for other recipes that use those ingredients. And that's a way that you can utilize everything without feeling like that waste is going to occur. But those are the big things that I recommend with the grocery list and the shopping tips. Make sure you're really buying things that you truly do not have. You're going to have a meal prep guide, which is also a lifesaver. This is a good opportunity for people who are maybe not so kitchen savvy or those who struggle with meal planning and meal prepping. This is a hot topic where people just like, oh, I don't have time to plan. I don't have time to prep. But this will show you how to do it, where you don't have to do everything on a Sunday, spending hours on your Sunday trying to get it done, and how to stagger things throughout the week. You want to have the ability to grab and go. You will have the option to see what it feels like when things are hectic during the week and you like, oh my gosh, I have all this made, I have all this prepped. All I have to do is grab it, warm it up. Leftovers, you'll be able to take advantage of leftovers. Not having to do something every single day is a lifesaver. And having things already planned, like your snacks already laid out, is a lifesaver, especially when the unexpected happens. So this is a good opportunity for you to get some guidance on how to prep and how to prepare things in a way to where you don't have to feel like you have to do it all at one time. So take full advantage of that, because this will make the 3-day challenge even easier, because there's some things that you'll do on Sunday that will prepare you or get things started to where you're not having to do as much during the week. Okay, so take advantage of that. And any questions that come up with shopping or prepping, post them in the chat. Okay, because if you have a question, I know somebody else has a question too, and it will help other people. So I'm hoping that we have a lot of engagement throughout this challenge, throughout the day, each and every day, just so we can encourage one another and keep everybody into the game. All right. And I love questions. So you can post videos. Sometimes people will post videos of themselves making the smoothies, or they'll take videos or pictures of things that they prepped. And I participate with you. So I'm doing this with you. So I'm going to post as well. And so that's where that player coach comes in. So I'm going through all of this stuff with you, so I know what it takes to get it done. Okay. Even when there's stuff being thrown at you. Leftovers, take advantage of the leftovers. They will appear on the grid in like that light color. And then you're going to have some things that you'll have enough leftovers to carry you beyond the challenge. So take advantage of that. But if you turn to the page with the grid, you'll have the opportunity to see all the meals in one place. So you can see what's being prepared on the certain days, and are they what meal they go to, snacks, etc. So this is a real good for those of us who are visual, to see everything laid out, and you can kind of see what the end goal is. And this particular challenge has a lot of good stuff in here, and the recipes are very easy to make. And then you have a very detailed grocery shopping list where everything is broken down by food groups or different categories, so you have the ability to find everything that you need. Now, let's talk about the timing of meals. So this is also a very important topic that comes up. So let's talk about the timing. With the timing, when you wake up is basically what I say is when the clock starts, when you wake up. So I usually recommend 1 to 2 hours of waking up to have breakfast. Okay. So if you're used to not, if you're somebody who doesn't eat breakfast or somebody who doesn't eat till 1, this is an opportunity for us to break that. That's once your way down to slow down your metabolism, introduce cravings, etc. So whatever time that is for you, plan to plan to eat within 1 to 2 hours of waking up. The earlier the better, but it depends on how early you wake up. You may want to wait those full 2 hours. Think 4 hours after your main meal. So when you have your breakfast, eat all your breakfast. So a lot of times people will eat part of this, drink part of the smoothie, or eat part of the breakfast. I'm like, no, eat the whole thing because then it just throws things off. And because remember, we're doing a natural body detox. That's what this is about. This is what you're going to hear more about in the training. And this is that process of giving your body a natural detox, as well as giving your body the nutrients that it needs so your energy levels get boosted and that you feel better and that you sleep better. And so think 4 hours later and think about where you are in your day. Is that a good time for you to have lunch? Or is it still too early because you woke up early? Or do you need to have a snack? There's 2 snacks in this plan. You can put them in the morning snack. I usually say is kind of optional. It depends on how late your breakfast is. But that afternoon snack around 3, 4-ish, usually between lunch and dinner, I say mandatory, because this is what's going to save you from the cravings in the evening, because we have too much time between lunch and dinner when we eat. So think about, for you, like I said, around 3 or 4 o'clock is pretty typical. I recommend having lunch around lunchtime. So between 12 and 2, have lunch around lunchtime. We don't want to have lunch at 4. If you're a teacher, understand that lunch is going to happen earlier, so you follow that. But I'm talking about for those who typically kind of lunch is hit or miss, let's make it more of a hit and have it during lunch hours. So that means you're able to get the rest of the meals in. And so, like I said, 4 hours between your meals, and then snacks typically around 2-hour window. So snacks can typically last about 2 hours. So think about that and pace them throughout the day. You decide if you want to have your second snack. If you're not going to do a morning snack, you can decide if you're going to have that snack, well, either in the morning or after dinner, basically, are the 2 times that you would have it. Because I highly recommend do not skip your snack between lunch and dinner. So around 3 or 4 o'clock, have that snack just to save you. And don't go off of, oh, I'm not feeling hungry. If you're not full and stuffed and feeling nauseous, you're training your body to receive the nutrients. So just go ahead and have it. and feel free to update, because everybody's going to have kind of a different schedule, different situation. And then I can kind of zero you in a little bit more on that. But feel free to swap the snacks. You don't have to have the snacks in the order that they're listed here. If you want to have, for instance, I'm looking at Tuesday, which should say Monday. So I do see a typo in the time here. The first day is Tuesday. That is correct. So on Tuesday, I see popcorn as a second snack with the nectarine. Feel free to substitute fruit if you can't find the nectarines, or they don't look good, or you don't like nectarines. Pick a peach or pick whatever fruit that you like. You can swap that for the hummus and the hummus dippers and the cheese. So you can kind of swap things. So that's perfectly fine to do that. And so if there are any other questions on that, do not hesitate to post. And let's see here. So the next one we have here, how the challenge will run. So let's talk about, before we get into that, let's talk about the prepping. So you can choose your day to prep. It's typical to prep on Sunday. That's kind of a typical prep day because people are going to work on Monday. Well, we have a holiday on Monday. So you can decide if you want to prep some things based on the meals and how they look and what the meal guide, the meal prep guide says. You can do some things on on Sunday, or you can do everything on Monday, because the actual challenge kicks off on Tuesday. So based off your schedule and your timing, then you can decide when you want to prep. And the prep guide will kind of give you some ideals on what to do. Like some things that would get prepped in advance are the overnight oats. You would definitely do that so it can settle. You have the tuna and the edamame salad, and you have the hummus dipper. So those are things that you could do on Sunday, and they would keep just fine until Tuesday. You have some optional time savers where you can prep the butternut roasted squash. soup with those kale chips, so you can start prepping some of that stuff in advance as well. Like you can cook the butternut squash early. I like my kale chips crispy and in real time, so I kind of do that on demand versus doing that in advance. But if you have an air fryer, you can warm them up in the air fryer, and they can get that crunch factor back. So because it's supposed to be kale chips, so but once it cools, of course, it's not crunchy anymore. And then the pumpkin breakfast cookies, you can either make those on Monday night, or you can sometimes people like to do those on Thursday, or so they're kind of hot and warm. So so do these things based off your schedule. But this is giving you a guideline to kind of let you know what you should do on certain days. Okay. And so for the first meal, let's talk about the overnight oats. So there's no need to add any additional protein. There's protein that's there based on the ingredients that's there. For the tuna edamame salad, if you don't like tuna, you'll see substitutions like chicken. You can buy the canned chicken if you want that chicken salad. If you have any nut allergies, you can substitute you can do sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds. Those will work as well. So you'll see a lot of different substitutions already listed on each of the recipes. So definitely check those out. The hummus dippers, cheddar cheese, you can mix it up. You don't have to do all peppers. You can do zucchini, you can do cucumbers, you can do various different types of vegetables that you like. Opt for reduced fat cheese versus full fat cheese. So it still has the fat in it. It's just not as much of the saturated fats. So go for the 2% or reduced fat. You don't have to do light or fat-free, only if you like it. I know I'm not a personal fan of light or fat-free cheese, but if you like it, then you can definitely do that, but you don't have to. Okay. Other white cheeses like Gouda and Swiss, any reduced fat cheese will do. Okay. And then the roasted butternut squash with the kale chips. Like I said, you can do that. You can actually buy your butternut squash already cubed, which is what I do, which is a huge time saver. It's still fresh, but it just saves you that much time. And again, you can substitute the nectarine, like I spoke with the peach or plum or anything. But if you want to kind of keep it in line with the plan, then you definitely can find other substitutions. All right, how the challenge will run. So we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have lots of fun. I love engagement. So like I said, if you can only stay on for a few minutes, please, please, please come in, say something to me, because that lets me know that people are following and that people are participating, and that excites me. And then I want to help and engage as much as possible. But when we all learn from each other. And so typically we'll have little opportunities for you to check in, kind of share, how the experience went with shopping, for example, or how certain meals, were they a hit, were they a miss, did you enjoy it, did it hold you? Ask certain questions just to kind of get a feel for how the challenge is going for you. So take advantage, because it's not typical that you'll have a challenge where you can have a dietitian live helping. So take advantage of it. I like it when people are participating. And the trainings will happen at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we'll have a different topic every day. So mark your calendars. Like I said, if you can stay, great. But if you can only pop in the beginning of the end, great. Okay. And recordings are available. But of course, I would like for you to come live, but recordings are available after the live, so you all will have access to the replays immediately. So post any questions or comments that you have throughout this challenge. Okay, you'll have opportunities to post in different places, but for this specifically, getting started, if you can keep everything in this thread so other people can see it while they're going through their weekend routine and trying to figure out what it is they need to purchase and not purchase, and to get ready for Monday. This challenge is all about having fun, trying new foods, trying new food combinations. Many of you are going to feel very surprised at how satisfied you felt. But listen to your body, because everybody's calorie needs are different. So if you are hungry and it's not thirst, you drink your 4 ounces of water, 8 ounces of water, and 10 minutes later your stomach is still growling, then add another snack. You can either redo a snack, just so you can keep it controlled. But I would say limit that snack to about 100, 150 calories. So we don't want to go overboard, but we do want to take the edge off. So you should not feel hungry. So listen to your body with that. And I want you to enjoy the different flavors, the different foods. And so this is just the beginning of getting back on track. So this 3-day experience is really just the beginning. And each day, take notes on what you're noticing different about yourself. Maybe a craving that you normally have at this time of the day didn't happen, or it was less, or you slept better, or you had more energy. Share. You had a regular bowel movement for 3 days, and that's never happened before. That's very crucial. So different. Maybe you're not feeling as achy. You're not feeling as bloated. So anything that you notice about yourself, please share, because that's motivation for other people. Okay. So get ready for a different type of detox, a different type of challenge. And I am looking forward. I would say take your weight on Tuesday morning. So right after the holiday, perfect timing, right? Take your weight, but that's fine. And then take your weight on Friday morning. And if you're somebody who is tracking sugar levels or blood pressure, do the same thing. Blood pressure, both of those you can do every single day, and log it and see the difference. Okay, see the difference in those levels. And so this way you can see how food is medicine, for yourself, and you can see how it works when we don't focus so much on deprivation, but we're focusing on what we can do to nourish our body and to give our bodies the premium gas that it needs to flow. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to look for questions and comments. Have a great weekend. Be blessed, and I look forward to seeing you all live on Tuesday. Bye-bye.